Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials or any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com. Thank you.
Network. This is a LAN network. If I connected these two together, okay, it would be considered as it is connected wide area network. So this would be considered as WAN, no problem at all. But that is under the single umbrella that is within the Capgemini. Nobody else from other, like the person like me who is connected to the internet, I cannot connect it to the Capgemini network at all, because this network is actually call it as intranet. It is not internet. Intranet means it is a type of a LAN network. It could be a WAN network, but it is completely secured under certain umbrella. They would not be able to allow you to connect it to outside world without any permission. Nobody else can connect directly to your network. Tomorrow Mangesh will connect the internet and he will start accessing the Capgemini resources. He would start accessing the Capgemini mail server. Is it technically possible? No. Capgemini would only allow the access to be happened if you are the part of the Capgemini network, and that network would be considered as a intranet. So within this intranet, I may have multiple LANs, I may have multiple WAN, or I may have multiple MAN. I don't know. But without the permission of the Capgemini, no one else can connect to the Capgemini network at all. But if I consider about internet, it's completely different. There is no security boundary. Internet is completely opened. You can connect to anything at any given point of time. It's a complete different world. Internet is completely open. If I connected over here, I'm in Pune, Facebook is in US. Both are connected to the internet. I'm able to access the Facebook. But am I able to access the Facebook company account? No. I can only access the service which is connected to the internet network, not intranet. So intranet would be a network which could be a LAN or it could be a WAN, but you're not be able to connect that network without the permission. That would be called as intranet. People are confusing. Intranet means a network within the security boundary would be considered as intranet. What is internet? Internet is publicly accessible network that anybody can connect it, anybody can join it without any problem. Correct? This would be considered as a internet. Okay. And the third network which they are talking about, it's called as extranet. Correct? Now, this will be considered as a combination. I said the private network that GAN control. That means this is the implementation. This is a Capgemini intranet. Okay. Now, I'm some freelancer consultant. I'm not the part of your company. I'm not the part of your company network as well. Right? I'm connected with some remote office somewhere in some other city, but I would be the part of your company because I'm helping you some job. But I'm allowing Capgemini allow me to connect you user which is coming from internet to their intranet From internet to intranet, I am allowed it to connect to your intranet office. This would be considered as extranet. Extranet. Correct. So if they grant me the permission to allow me to connect through the internet to their intranet, then it would be considered as a extra. Correct. Understand, people are very tricky over here. They might be using the word called as local area network, and they might be using the word called as intranet when you are going for a certification perspective. In your questions, they might ask you, I'm using intranet. Correct. So they might ask you the question called as intranet. They might ask you the question about local area connection. Any either way, they are going to ask you. You have the type of network they are talking about. Correct. It's a confusing. So is it clear what is local area connection? What is wide area connection? What is metropolitan area connection? Is it clear? If you have any questions, kindly ask me the question. This is basic theory chapters, because once you understand this theory, it will be very helpful to go for practicals in a second part of your course. Any doubt on this? What is exactly LAN, WAN, MAN? Any doubt on this? What is the internet? What is the intranet? And what is the extranet? Any doubt on this? If you have any doubts, kindly speak up, or you can put the messages on a chat window. Okay, nobody has a doubt. Okay, now this is an activity they might be going to ask you when you are going for any kind of a certification. They will ask you, they will give you the question based on their scenario, and they will ask you, okay, identify what type of network it is, whether it's a LAN, WAN, MAN, intranet, internet. So be careful what type of term that they are using in your particular question. Correct. They might be going to give you some diagram, something like this. Correct. And they will ask you, okay, what type of network this could be. So you should have a clear mindset. What is LAN? What is MAN? What is a intranet? What is a extranet? What is internet? Correct. Majorly, the internet symbol would be given as a globe. So be careful like this. This is once again some example they are giving you in order to understand how these networks are designed. So currently we are not going any deep dive into it. We are just talking about a basic terms. Okay. Now this is very important topic called as network models. Okay, this is, if you understand this blueprint concept, majority of networking you would understand how it is designed and how it is working. The concept is called as networking model. I will simply copy it and paste. This is called as open system interconnection model. We can call it as OSI model. Okay. Now many people ask me, what is this model for? What is this model actually doing? What is the role of this particular model? Why we are using this particular model? Now I will give you a very beautiful example. The first internet connection was designed and developed in year of 1960 or in between 1960 to 65. You can imagine from 1965 we are using internet, correct? The first version of the internet was called as ARPANET. ARPANET is a type of internet connection. This is the first version of the internet. That means internet is not a new thing which is developed actually. It was started developing in 1965, correct? So you can imagine in 1965, okay, everything which we are using was completely different. You can imagine in old days, if I purchase any IBM device, okay, IBM is a well-known company, everybody knows about it. If I purchase any IBM device, and if I purchase any other company's device, for example, I give you the name called as Sun Microsystem. These are two different manufacturers. Now, in early days, what used to happen? These two manufacturers, if I purchase it and if I connect these two devices to the network, these two devices won't work because IBM designed and developed the protocols, the communication strategies, the media, which can only talk with IBM devices only. That means if I purchase an IBM computer, any other IBM computer or any other IBM devices, then these two IBM computer will work, no problem. But the moment if I change the manufacturer, this IBM computer won't work with the Sun Microsystem. The reason behind it, IBM know how to talk with the IBM devices because they are talking with a proprietary protocol. They are talking with the proprietary management, their own method, their own data transmission method, correct? So this is complete communication is possible, no doubt about it in early days. But the problem was no standardization was done. There was no standard technique. The moment I use some other devices into my network, they won't be able to communicate because IBM work on their own method, Sun Microsystem works on their own method. They won't be able to communicate at all. This was a problem. That means in early days, there was a large problem of cross community or cross communications because there was no standardization. Everybody start creating their own models. Everybody start creating their own designs, own protocols, correct? Because they want a complete privilege. They should be ready for this ARPANET. Everybody was actually looking for this particular first version of the internet called as ARPANET, and everybody was trying to compete for that. Everybody started developing their own strategy, but after some days they will come to know that, oh, this is a problem, that the devices won't be able to talk with anything, correct? This is the problem. Then what should we do it? Then the company called as ISO actually comes into the picture. Okay, International Standard of Organization. Actually, ISO come into the picture and they said no, we should not do these things. We should have a standard model which we can use it for everyone if they want to create networking, if they want to transfer the data, if they want to receive the data, if they want to do the networking, they should use a standard model. And the first networking model or the first model was developed, that is called as OSI layer model. OSI stand for Open System Interconnection Model. If you go to here,
Hey viewers, our Mastery in DevOps engineering program can help you to hone the skills necessary to succeed in high-level DevOps positions. So, what are you waiting for? Enroll now and earn certification that show you are keeping pace with today's technical roles and requirements. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
okay, Open System Interconnection Model. This is a conceptual design. This is a conceptual design which is actually designed by ISO, correct? And that contains these 7 layers. Okay, this is a conceptual design. Remember that people are confused over here as well. What is this? This is just a concept. ISO said if you want to use networking, then everyone, not just you, everyone who is the part of this network, who is the part of this particular internet, they should use this standard model. Then standardization is done. Then they instructed IBM, no, if you want to use this, you have to use the same model. They said, Sun Microsystem, you want to use the networking, you have to use the same model. Everyone who want to use the communication to the ARPANET, they said you have to refer this OSI model for you. This is very, very important. People ask me a very interesting question, sir. ARPANET was the first internet version. Okay, now this is official. Now, before that, is there any method was there in order to communicate? Technically speaking, yes. Before our ARPANET, there was one network was present, which was running through telephone lines, old telephone lines, and that network was typically used for American defense agencies. That was the first network that developed. But after that, some scientists understand the power of that networking and they come with the concept called as ARPANET. So that same networking concept, they will publish it publicly and they will start deploying the first version for the internet. Correct? So let's understand how this 7-layer structure help us to make the standardization. Correct? Now we will see layer by layer in which layer what is controlled and how it is controlled. Now if I see, okay, this is the same layer structure which we are going to talk, and this is how it is going to talk with you. Correct? Now the interesting theory is here. I will explain you how it is happened and how the things are happened. Now the first layer say physical layer. Now remember, this layer questions are very, very important because they would be asking very tricky questions on this. Correct? Now the first layer is called as physical layer. Now look at the definition over here. The definition say transmit bits and binary digit from one device to another device and regulate the transmission stream over a medium like wire, fiber optic, radio waves. Correct? Now people say, what do you mean by physical? Now, according to ISO, they said we are going to create a standard now. And the first standard will start with physical layer. Physical layer actually work with bit and bytes. A bit, whenever the bits and bytes comes into my mind, what are the devices come into the picture? The first device who actually comes into the picture is called as NIC. Second devices would be called as modem. Third devices would be called it as, you can say, hub. Okay. Fourth device is called as media, connectors. Okay. Then there is a concept called as, okay, that's it, not more than that. Layer is actually talk about the concept called as bits and bytes. Correct. I also said the physical layer, the first, which is the first layer from the bottom. Okay, remember it is starting from the bottom. This is the physical layer. If you look at the diagram, it is starting from the bottom, and this is the first layer I'm going to talk about. Correct. Now this layer, this is interesting. Now this layer actually help us to transmit the data in the form of bits and bytes. Correct. Now this is very important to understand that. Correct. What, who can control the bits and bytes? The devices who is controlling the bit byte is nothing but NIC, modem, hub, media, and connectors. These are the devices actually dealing with bits and bytes. Bits means it's nothing but it's your binary digit 1 and 0. That's it. So ISO said that devices under physical layer who controls transmission of bits and bytes, we should have some standardization. And what devices they will control under the physical layer? They said NIC, modem, hub, media, and connectors. Now, what is a NIC? NIC is nothing but network interface card. If you can see on your laptop, network, okay, this is the card. Now, if I say about laptop, okay, in your laptop, this is the slider card which is available in your laptop. These are the type of cards. So we can see this is the network interface card where you are connected the cable. Now 99% we are not using the cable. We do have another network card called as wireless. This is the wireless interface card which we are using. Correct. Maybe that you are connected with the wire, then your laptop do have this particular port which would be considered as NIC. So what ISO said, the first layer control the bits and bytes, bits byte control with the NIC. So ISO created a strict standard that how the NIC card should be designed to everyone. They said if you want to design the NIC card for the laptop, you want to design the NIC card for desktop, you want to design the wireless network interface card, you have to follow these things. Then who is the manufacturer? I don't care whether it's a Dell laptop, whether it's a HP laptop, whether it's a Lenovo laptop, the network interface card has to be with the physical layer standardization. It should have RJ45 port, that port which is available. This port and the connector will call it as RJ45. Remember that. This is also very important for you to understand. RJ45 connector. This is a type of connector which I'm talking about. This is the type of the port which is available on your laptop. This is a standard they have made. They said you have to use this connector. The connector should have been connected to this type of cable. That kind of standard they have created. Correct? So understand, this is very important. They said network interface card should have RJ45 connector type of connection should be connected over there. Correct? So you have to make sure that it should be it should be something which is a standard. They said it has to be connected like this. Every network interface card should have a MAC address that is called as media access control. Correct? The media access control is actually available in every network interface card. That is a unique identification number. Correct? Remember that this is also standard. You can take any network interface card. Every network interface card do have a MAC address. This is a standard of the physical layer. I also said the physical layer contain NIC, modem, hub, media, and connector. Everything has to be a specific standard because these all devices actually dealing with what? Bit and bytes. So they created a standard on a physical layer, because if you look at this diagram carefully, okay, you can see the physical layer is the first entry point. If some data comes to me, some data comes to my laptop, where it is coming from? Either it is coming from this network interface card, am I right? If someone want the data, if I send the data, then the data comes through this cable. So this would be what? My entry point. If I'm sending the data outside from this computer, what could be my exit point? This is a network interface card. So remember that network interface card is actually plays a very important role. Correct? It always works in bits and bytes. Now people ask me, what is a function of the network interface card? I agree, the network interface card is actually dealing with bits and bytes. He's the first entry point and exit point. If I'm sending the data, this is the exit point. If I'm receiving the data, it is the entry point for my computer. Correct? Then what is the function? The function would be considered as converting digital signal into ones and zero. You can say digital to analog conversion. My network interface card is actually doing the same thing. Correct? Whatever digital data which I have on my computer, I'm converting that digital data into ones and zeros, and ultimately that ones and zeros would be converted into electric current. Correct? Because this wire contains a copper wire. So my NIC network interface card do have a standard now. That network card should have a RJ connector port. The basic function of the network interface card is converting digital signal to analog and analog to digital, because this network interface card could be act like a entry point and exit point. Correct? Every network interface card should have a MAC address, that is mandatory. Now all these standards are created under physical layer. Under physical layer, they said the first devices would be NIC, network interface card, and every network interface card should have some standard should be there. And these are the standard. The basic functionality should be digital to analog. MAC address should be there. The connector should be RJ45. Now you can purchase any network card. Whether you are using a Dell computer, you purchase any network card from any manufacturer, it is going to fit hardware way and a manufacturer way. It has to be same. It is compatible now. It doesn't say that if you purchase an HP computer, you have to use HP device. Nowadays you can use any device. There is no restriction. Because of why? Physical layer. Because physical layer says this has to be unique. Correct? The second device is called as modem. Now everybody knows about a modem. Currently we are also using the modem, but that modem does not have a single modem. it contains modem cum router or wireless router. But modem is the device who actually do the same thing. We can call it as modulation and demodulation. This is also doing the same kind of work. Whatever data which is actually coming through the telephone wires, correct? Your broadband wires, he will convert that data into digital signals. Whatever digital signals which you are sending back to that modem, he will once again take that digital signals and send it back to the analog signals. Now this functionality is also unique. If I would like to use any modem who can help me to connect my device over the internet or over the network, I have to create a standard for this device as well. So early days modem was very popular device because this is the device who can help me to convert my digital data to the telephone network. And whatever data which is coming from the telephone network, he would be converting that back to the digital network. Now this particular facility, they created a standard once again. Now in modem, there is another port called as RJ11. Remember that I said RJ45 for network connected. There is a RJ11 connector.
Hey viewers, are you looking for formal training on SRE practices? Take our SRE program. This course will teach you how to successfully implement site reliability engineering in the modern day 24/7 services. Kickstart your SRE training today. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
You might have seen this. This is a very small cable. This is RJ45 connector. This is called as RJ11 connector. Remember that this is a small telephone cables. If you have a telephone at your place, you can see that that particular type of cables, it's still available. It's a small telephone cables. So this is a standard they said. They said you should have RJ11 cable connected. Okay, here RJ45 cables was available. In modulation or in a modem, they said we should have RJ11 cables connected. Correct? So remember that these are the two standard connectors and cables are developed under this because media is also available over here. Correct? The next things which they have done is called as your modem speed. Correct? What is the speed of your modem? Now, in early days, the speed was very less. It says 54 kbps, correct? 128 kbps. That was the speed of dial-up modem. Okay. Now we are getting everything in mbps, correct? That is a very strong network which we have because a lot of development is happened after that. But in particular, modems, whatever type of modem, still we are using the same standard that the modem has to have this kind of facility. Correct? Now the speed is also defined in those days. What is the type of modems which you have? Whether you have a 54 kbps, 128 kbps, nowadays there are some different type of modems who can switch over that. But in early days, we do have a fixed speed which is available inside your modem as well. So this is another device they created under the physical layer, and they said, oh, you have to create the standardization. Now you can purchase any modem. It has to be compatible for your connection. If you purchase a modem, they will ask you whether you are using a broadband connection, are you using a cable connection, correct? So they know that for which connection, which modem is compatible because that is a standardization they have done, correct? So everything you have to understand, every particular device is standardized. The third thing is called as hub. Okay, you need to see the hub is look like this. Now this is we are not using anymore. but this was a very old devices which is called as hub. Okay, the hub is very basic device where I can connect, and he would be able to connect multiple devices together. You can see this is an example. Now this is a USB hub. Okay? We are talking about this hub, which is a networking hub. You can see what standard says. You have to connect RJ45. So you can see all the ports on this particular hub would be RJ45. Correct? Now this is a standard because they said RJ45 would be standard connections. Correct? Correct? So remember that this is the standard for hub. Now what is the function of hub? Now hub is actually a very simple device who can actually take the data and send the data or broadcast the data to all the ports. Now people ask me confusion, sir, we don't know what is the meaning of it. You can see hub is the device where I can connect multiple devices together with the multiple port. Correct? So if I connect 10 different computers to this hub with the help of RJ45 cable and with your network interface card. Okay. So if I show you something like this, if I do have a small hub, okay, this is a small hub. And if I have multiple computers connected to the single hub, okay, it's a device who can help me to create and connect all the devices to the centralized place. If this is how it should be connected. So this computer and these computers are connected through this hub. So let's say this is the computer A and this is a computer B. Correct? Now computer A want to send the data to computer B. So what computer A will do? He will send the data to the hub. Okay? When hub receive the data from the computer A, what hub will do? He will broadcast. Broadcast means he will send the data to every port of that hub where the computer is connected. Now that data is typically made for B, but what hub will do? He will go to this computer and say, is data belong to you? He said, no, this data is not belong to me. Then he will send it to this port as well. He said that, is this data belong to you? He said, no, this data is not belong to me. Okay, then he will go to the computer B and he say, oh, is it belong to you? Yes, he said, yes, it is sent by A and it is for me. So he is doing broadcasting. Broadcasting means sending the data to every port of your hub. Every port, whatever ports are available, every port of the hub, you are connected and sending the data. So hub is a device. With the help of hub, multiple computers are connected together. But what hub is doing? Hub is actually sending the data and broadcasting that data to every port of the device. Correct? That's the reason actually hub also comes under the category called as physical layer. Correct? Because physical layer is actually working on bits and bytes. What hub is doing is taking the signals. Correct? He's amplifying the signals and sending those signals to every port. Whether he received it and discarded, that is a different story. But he will broadcast it to the every port of the hub. So hub is not a very efficient device, but we were using a long time back because that was the device which is available that time. So hub also comes under the category called as physical layer, and he makes sure that everything should be done the way which I explained. Take the signal, amplify the signal, and broadcast it to the every port of your hub. This is the functionality of your hub. Correct? Now the next things are media and connectors. Now media means your cables. They created a standard of cables. There are two type of cables which we are talking about. You can see now they have created. Okay, these are the type of cables which we have. Okay, majorly there are two type of cable. One is called as UTP. Okay, and second one is called as STP. Okay, now you can see if you look at this cable carefully. Now this is again the standard they have created. There are total 8 cables are there in the pair of 2. There are 4 pairs. Okay, total number of cables would be how much? 8 cables are there. But they are in the pair of 2 with specific color combinations. Correct? Along with that, there are a shield is available. Shield means some cover. Correct? STP means shield twisted pair. There are two major type of cables which we are talking about. The first one is called as STP, that is called as shield twisted pair cable, and second one is called as UTP, that is called as unshield twisted pair. Shield means what? An extra additional cover would be available on the top of that particular cable. In unshield cover, there is no additional cover at all. Correct? So these are the two major cables they have introduced. Now this is a standard. Now why they are twisted? Anyhow, there are 4 different type of cables are available. But the first question is why they are twisted? Is there any reason behind it? Why they are saying twisted pair? Does anybody knows about it? Why we required twisted pair? Okay, I will tell you the reason. Now, if anyhow, the electrons are actually traveling through this wire because these wires are copper. Okay, the end of these wires are they are traveling through some electrons, and if you are traveling some electrons, there is a chance, means we are actually transferring some electric current through this wire. There is a chance to create an electromagnetic resonance, electromagnetic field to be created. Correct? In order to avoid that, these cables are twisted. Correct? And these are 4 different pair. In actual, only 2 pairs, means only 4 cables are actually in working progress. Another 4 cables are majority cases they are using it as a backbone, or you can use it as a failover. If this cable fails, this cable will start transmitting. So this is a standard made under the physical layer. I also said under physical layer, these are the 4 devices. Connector means your different type of RJ45 connector, your converters, correct? USB to RJ45 converters, whatever connectors, converters, which is also comes, they created a standard. They said you have to manufacture this converter like this. You have to manufacture the wire like this. It has to be same. You are supposed to make everything standardized. So under physical layer, the physical layer actually works under bits and bytes, which is nothing like 1 and zeros. There are NIC, there is a modem, there is a hub, there is a media like a cables, there is a connectors, there are converters. All these devices comes under physical layer, and our OSI model says you have to create a standard devices now. So you can purchase any cable. and connected to the any device like any router or any modem, it is compatible. Why? Because my physical layer standard says you have to create everything as per the model, whatever model they are saying about physical model. So remember that if physical layer comes into the picture, everything would be bits and bytes. Everything would be entry and exit points, majority of your computer.
Hey viewers, trying to get into DevSecOps? Enroll for our DevSecOps certified professional programs and earn the certification that shows you are fit for these technical roles and requirements. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
Network NIC card, modem, hub, media. Media means your cables, correct? Connectors would be comes under this. Then connector doesn't mean NIC doesn't mean only network card, means wireless network card also comes into the picture. Remember that. Your optical network card means you are using optical fibers. Whatever network connectors they are using, that also come into the physical network. Your optical fiber also come under physical layer. Everything. And I also say this is a standardized thing. So you have to make sure that if someone asks you about physical layer, simply say the physical layer actually deals with bits and bytes, ones and zeros. So whatever actually transmitting in this particular format in bits and byte, all those devices comes under physical layer. Then it could be an IC card, it could be a modem, it could be a hub, it could be a media, it could be a connectors, it could be a converters, it could be a wireless devices, wireless adapters, everything. Correct? Now let's talk about one more devices. Now one more devices more, that is called as data link device. Now data link layer actually it's a combination of two different layer together. It's not a single layer. It's a combination of two layer. Okay. Now let's say this is my computer. Okay. This computer is connected to a most sophisticated device called as switch. Okay, we will see this device in a depth. Okay, this device is called a switch. Majorly switches, and there is another device which is called as bridges. Bridges is nothing but a switch, but it is a old style. It is called which is not so much highly provisioned, but still it is the same type of device. He will do the same thing like switch to, no doubt about that. But ultimately this is a old style device called as bridge. All these devices comes under the data link layer. Switches, remember that this is also called as layer 1 devices. Those people are very smart. They will sometime ask you what is a layer 1 devices, what is a layer 2 devices. Layer 2 devices means what? Data link. Layer 1 devices means what? Physical layer. Correct? So if I talked about layer 2, which is a data link, that means I'm talking about switches. So if I look at my definition, okay, the structure data into a format appropriate for transmission the medium, okay, adds a physical address such as a media access control address or a frame relay data link numbers usually include simple error checking. Now this is, you won't understand this. I will explain you with a very simple manner. Correct? Now as per the definition says, if my computer is connected to a switch, okay, now I told you this is a standard in a layer 3, correct? In layer 3, sorry, layer 1. In layer 1, what is the standard says? Here the switch should contain what? RJ45 connector, your NIC should also connected with RJ45 connector, correct? This is a cable which you are connected in between these two. I told you that as per the standard, every NIC network interface card which you have, it contains an address called as media address or media access control address. This is called as MAC address. This is a number, unique number, which is available for your NIC. I will show you when we go in a deep dive. It currently just say that this is universally unique number. It is not repeated anywhere in the world. If I got any NIC card, that NIC card won't be repeated again. Never. And the same number you won't find in the world. If I replace the NIC card, my MAC address would be completely different. And you won't be able to get the same number again. This is the beauty of this number. And I am getting this MAC address available over here. Now my data link layer, actually layer 2, work on two layers. I told you this is not a single layer. It is working on two different layers. If I say this is my data link layer, the below layer would be called as MAC, and above layer is called as LLC, and both this combinationally call it as data link layer. Now once again, this is the conceptual design. Practically you will not be able to see anything like this. Okay, this is the concept they said. Now under this data link layer, the below layer will be considered as media access control. Now as per the definition says, adds a physical address such as media access control. That means they're talking about this layer. Now whenever my computer sends a data to any other device, remember that every device do have their unique header. Okay, let's say I do have another computer over here, computer B, and this computer B is also connected to the same switch. Now look at the difference. We have seen what hubs do. Hub is also help me to connect multiple devices together, correct? But what hub was doing? Hub was broadcasting the data to every port unnecessarily, correct? The one who actually required that data, he receives that data and he will process it. No worry about that. But by default, hub will do the broadcasting. Now look at the change. In data link layer, they said the switch is a device who comes under the data link layer, who also help you to connect multiple devices to be connected together, correct? Then what is the difference in this? The difference would be, if I send a data, let's say this is a computer A and this is a computer B, correct? Whenever computer A sends some data to the computer B, what will happen now? Now this is the standard says what's supposed to be happen. In computer A, he will generate some data packet. That means the data he want to transmit. But before he transmit the data, he should tell me to whom I should transfer. Am I right? I should say, oh, computer A, you should transfer to the computer B. I should tell my data where he should be landed. We can call it as destination. Correct? We should know what is the source. Correct? Now, what is the destination and what is the source? Now, in our case, how we are going to do it in our real day-to-day life? What would be, how we are going to find out who is my source and who is my destination? Does anybody knows about it? How we can identify our destination? Guys, don't go for sleep. Does anybody know how to find out a destination? How we are going to do it in day-to-day life? If I want to ping some device to find out whether he's alive or not, how do I do that?
Using the IP address?
Absolutely correct. I should know the IP address because that is the unique identity. We should have it. Am I right? But remember that IP address, my switch does not understand. My switch don't know what do you mean by IP address at all, because he only understand what? MAC address of your devices. I know my destination is my IP address. Correct? I should mention the destination means IP address of the computer B. Okay. Source would be what? IP address of the computer A. This is my source. This is my destination. But if I send this particular data to switch do not understand IP address because he is not made for that. Layer 2 device, the data link device, the below layer called as media access control. He said, what is IP? I don't know. I only work on what? MAC address. Give me the MAC address of B and give me the MAC address of A. Don't give me the IP addresses because I don't know. Because switch work on media access control layer, and media access control layer only understand MAC addresses. Now tell me, how do I provide the MAC address of the B over here? How do I do that? Do we have any mechanism? Whenever the computer A generates a packet, are you sending the command to the ping command to the MAC address somewhere? Are you firing the command like ping space MAC address of the computer? You can see the MAC address of the computer. I will show you. It's a hexadecimal number. Okay, this is the physical address. Am I pinging something like this? Ping. Okay, copy. Okay. Am I pinging something like this? How do I ping it? I always ping with my IP address because that is the way I know it. Am I right? If I put it over here, I'm not pinging it. Correct? Yes, it's giving me reply, no doubt about it. Correct? But look at this case. If I try to ping means I'm sending some data to this to check whether he is alive, and he's saying me alive. No problem. So whenever data packet is generated, it always prefer the IP address. Okay, the IP address of the destination is B, the source IP address is A. Absolutely fine. But both the computers are connected to the switch, and I told you switch does not understand the IP address at all. It never works on IP address. It only work on MAC address, the physical address of your computer. Then how do I, whenever the data packet is generated over here to send it to the computer B, how do I come to know what is the MAC address of the B? Okay, MAC address of the A, that is nothing but a source. I can get it, no problem. But how do I find out the MAC address of the B? Does anybody have an idea? Have you heard about a concept called as ARP?
Yes.
Okay, this is the magic. ARP is called as address resolution protocol. Okay, there are two protocols. Remember that carefully. There are two protocols running behind it. One is called as ARP and second one is called as RARP, reverse address resolution protocol. What is the purpose of ARP? It holds the data, which is a table, which is a IP address and its physical address. Okay, in reverse way, it is exactly opposite. Physical address is equal to IP address. Correct. Now these are the two protocols. What happen? These protocols every 5 seconds. Remember that you don't know about it, but behind the scene, your laptop, your servers, your all the devices who's implemented ARP, every 5 seconds they are sending their entries across the network. Means they broadcast the message. Okay, that means computer A and computer B are connected to the same switch, which is working on data link layer. They have the ARP protocol implemented in your operating system. Correct? That means every 5 seconds, these both the computer are broadcasting what? They're broadcasting, look, computer B, this is my IP address is equal to this is my MAC address. Computer A broadcast this message to the computer B. Computer B said, okay, I will keep your entry with me. Same thing would be done by computer B. Computer B said, oh, this is my IP address is equal to this is MAC address. He will broadcast this message to everyone, and the other computer will keep the entry of that into their ARP table. So am I able to get the MAC address now? Yes, it is available locally. Correct? Whenever computer A want to transmit the data to the computer B, the way he find out the IP address, he will go to his own ARP table. He will also find out, okay, the destination IP address is this, then the MAC address of that particular destination is this, isn't it? You know, this is happening behind the scene. We don't know. Correct? So I got the destination MAC address as well. Source MAC address, I don't require it at all because that is the computer where I am getting this. So am I getting the destination MAC address? Yes. And how I am getting it? I am getting it with the help of ARP table, which is updated on my computer itself. Now I will send this data to switch, which is a layer 2 devices, correct? Which is a data link layer. And it works on what? I have attached what? MAC address. This is what the line says. The adds a physical address such as a media access control. That means I am adding MAC address to my data which I want to transmit. And look how it is added. I have added that entry with the help of the protocol called as ARP, which is running on my operating system. Every operating system do have the ARP table. You can take Linux, you can take Unix, you can take Windows, Mac, every, because that is also a standard. Correct? So I got the destination MAC and I send this data to this switch. Correct? The data is received to this particular switch now. Now I told you switch does not bother about what IP address you are looking at. What he bother about it? Destination MAC address. Because I'm talking about this layer right now. Data link layer is created. These combination of two layers, correct? I'm talking about this layer right now. I'm not talking about LLC. If you understand this, your networking is clear. This is why I'm putting a lot of efforts to explain this. And I'm going to ask you the question after this session, what you have explained till so far. Correct? So when this particular data would be considered over here, switch only consider the MAC address of it. Correct? And the data which is coming to the switch always consider the data as a frame. What he will consider? he will consider the data as a frame. Correct? Remember that this is very important. He would consider the data as a frame. Physical layer consider the data as what? Bits and bytes. Remember that. Data link would be considered the data as a frame. Correct? So he received what? He received the data as a frame. Whenever he received that particular data, he will understand what is a destination MAC address. Now switch, which I'm talking about, it's a very intelligent switch. Whenever he received the data for the first time, let's say this is a brand new switch and I have connected all the devices just now, and he started using that particular devices right. Whenever switch receive the data for the first time, he don't find his MAC address immediately. What he will do, he know what is the source MAC address, he do not bother about it. He will understand the source MAC address and he don't know where is the destination. Then what he will do, he will broadcast that message. Okay, he will broadcast this data to every port of the switch, like the hub do. Now hub by default do that particular thing, but for the first time, whenever switch does not find out the source destination MAC address, what he will do for the first time, he will broadcast the data to every single port of the switch, and the port where he sent the data to the computer B, and computer B said, oh, this is my MAC address and this data is made for me. Then what switch can do? Switch can build a table called as MAC address, where it contains what? He know what is a MAC address of the computer A, what is a MAC address of the computer B, and he know on which port of the physical port of the switch they are connected now. Maybe it is connected to the port number 1, it may be connected to the port number 10. Correct? He will build his own MAC address table inside his memory. Correct? So the next time, if once again computer A want to transmit the data to the computer B, now is he going to do the broadcast? No, this time no. Why? Because he do have the entry available in his MAC address table. He know that which particular port where it is has to be going. Correct? He only send the data to port number 10. Correct? Remember that this is necessary. Here broadcasting will not happen second time. For the first time, he only do the broadcast to understand the MAC addresses and build its own MAC address table. Next time, if the same request comes, he will not do the broadcast. He will try to send the broadcast to the computer B to the specific port. Correct? Okay. Is it clear?
Thanks for watching. Want to study further? Join our training programs today.